Hi, this is Irv. In this video I'm going to show you how to get started with DocPro, the medical billing system. There are more videos at www.practiceamazing.com, but this one will get you started. Basically, this system is used for medical billing, which includes billing insurance companies and billing patients once insurance is cleared, or billing patients when they don't have insurance. We're going to run through an overview, so if you're just starting out, this should be a good place to just get the basics. First, you can click down on the left bottom to log in or sign in. You'll need to have a user ID and a password. Basically, on these fields you can just use your mouse and click where you want, or you can hit the enter key and also the up arrow and down arrow key. And I'll hit the enter key again. The date would be the accounting date. That would be the day you're doing work for. All your charges will default to that day. You can put older charges in, or older accounting items in, but you're going to have to change the date. So pay attention to the login date as you come in. Once you're set up, you just click OK. Sometimes there's an error or a message from something you did, and we'll ignore that. So here is the main menu in DocPro. Over here in the middle is an introduction message, and it's worth reading. There's a program version, which this one is September 25th, 2015. This would be the name of your practice. Over here are all the things that you can do, sort of in the order you would do them. Number one, you'd register a patient. Once a patient is registered, then they're pretty well set for future visits, and that data only changes once in a while. Let's take a look at that patient registration, and you'll see it comes up with the patient's last name, first name. It just happens to come up with the last patient we worked with. If we wanted to see a different patient, we could come down here under Find Patient and then come in this list and start typing right here. Maybe we could put East, and that would bring up the patient that begins with the word East, and in this case it's just one. I press enter and I'll press K for keep. So now we have information on this patient. This information is the basic demographic information, like name, date of birth, where they live, the doctor they normally see if you have more than one doctor in the office, their patient's relation to the guardian. Okay, if the patient has a guardian, in this case if they're over 18, they're going to be their own guardian. And other than that, it's just basic information, such as when they were registered. The system will track when they came in last, and a few little bits of information down here. Now up top you can see different things that they can have. They can have a different bill to address, but in this case it's the same as the patient, so we're not worried about that. Now we'll go back to registration. Over here they can have up to 3 insurance plans. This one has just one, which is called the top dollar plan, and that little folder there shows us that that tab has something in it. These don't have anything in them. So if I click top dollar, you can see it's going to be plan number 1, and then its name is going to be top dollar. It's going to be the primary insurance plan. The patient's relationship is self, and then they have a subscriber ID, which is off of their insurance card. Sometimes they have a group number. If they were not, if say it was a spouse or a child or something else, then you're going to have a different subscriber name. You're going to have the parent or the spouse or whatever. Then they're going to want info on the subscriber, like the date of birth and so on. Also down here, it's important, when does this plan start? It starts, let's say, whenever you add them, but then the coverage normally ends at the end of the year. and you will just click yes for or put yes into renews each year, and then it would automatically extend it every year. Other things, it can track visits and deductibles, and if you have a copay, it's in here. Now there's one more screen that's important called Insurance Chart Data, and all that is a little bit of clinical information or administrative information on the patient, such as, say, they had a referring physician and what the physician's ID is, or a prior authorization number for a certain number of treatments, or if you wanted to track when did this first start, or other things like hospital or disability dates or so on. These are all things that can go on the insurance forms. Generally you set a chart once and you leave it, but you can add new charts if the conditions change, and most of the time you'll just have one. So we'll go back to registration. Now an interesting thing is I've been using the mouse up top, which is fine, but also to speed things up, down bottom we have all these keys or buttons that we can also click on with the mouse. For example, we could go to the bill to address, and then we could say exit from there. But we also can press the key. So if I press the B key, and then that will go to that screen, I can press the X key, and that'll get me out. So you can see I can move around much more quickly. If I did a find, type in maybe Frederick Smith, press enter, press keep. So that'll speed you up a great deal. You know, the mouse is okay for a few things, but usually you'll get into using the keys. And we'll click X and get out of there. Now of course on the patient registration we just looked at a patient. There's a feature in there to add patients and edit patients and even delete patients, which there's another video on how to register patients. But of course that's one of the most important screens. The next most important screen is the ledger. We're going to go there. The ledger, it will have all the activity that happens on a patient. So I'm going to do, again, find patient. Let's just go to Joe Applegate here. I can double click, or again I can use the keys. Now it's showing us line items. First of all, this is for the patient, Joe Applegate. It has his address up here, the type of coverage, what we've entered for his copay, which is nothing, and his account number, date of birth, the doctor he usually sees. Down here is his account balance, current. This is the total balance, and then how much of that is current, how much is 1 month old, 2 months old, 3 months old, 4 months old. Over here is on hold, and that means a credit balance. That's money someone may have paid, but it hasn't been posted to a service yet. So it hasn't paid anything. It's like money in a separate box that you can use for that patient. So if they prepay something, it would be up here. Or maybe if insurance overpaid something, the extra would be up here. Now down here are the line items. This screen in the demo is small because it's set up that way, but you'll have up to 20 line items showing, and on the right side you'll have a scroll bar, so you could have 100 line items if you need them. And when we first come into a screen, it normally just shows, like it says, today plus any items with balances. So it starts with the oldest items that still have balances due. Now we're going to just cover line items just for a minute, but the line items tell you all about the services the patient's had. And the ID is simply just starts at 1 and goes up. It's just to identify the line. And it will change every time you draw a different line, so that ID is just for reference. The date is the date that the treatment happened. In this case it's a treatment. We can also post payments, we can post adjustments and discounts and all kinds of things. So right now these are all type S, which means service, but there's other things like P, which is patient payment, I, which is insurance payment. So pay attention to the type. The code is just a simple office code that is a shortcut to tell you what you did. Here's the description of it, and this is be a chiropractic manipulation for 3 to 4 regions of the spine. This might be a physical therapy type of charge for manual therapy. Now, to the right of that is going to be the provider they saw. Usually it's one, but you can have different providers. This is provider 2. Now, these are the flags, and you need to learn about the flags. 1N and 2N says, the 1 says it's Plan 1, which is Aetna, which this patient has. The N says that has not been billed yet. The 2 says it's Plan 2, which would be the secondary, which is Travelers, which this patient has, and N means it has not been billed yet. These are the most probably powerful, 4 letters on the system. If this goes to a B, so it goes to 1B, that means you have used the computer to bill that visit or that service on an insurance form, and hopefully sent that form to the insurance company either on paper or through the electronic claims. So it's 1N means not billed, 1B means billed, 1P means paid. And that's all you need to know about the flags, is not billed, billed, and paid, which carries a huge amount of information, because when you go to run automatic bills, whenever it sees a 1N or a 2N, especially the 1N right here, it will print out a form for that automatically. So you control your billing through that. Now over here is how much the charge was for that particular item. Now these next 3 fields are really important. This is how much on this visit or this charge was paid from insurance, how much was paid from the patient, and how much was written off as a credit adjustment. And then how much is still left to be paid. This is done because this is what's called an open item billing system, meaning this item is open until its balance becomes 0. This is used in medical billing because insurances pay different amounts for different types of services. They don't always pay 100%. So you need to track how much has come in on each service. And this is shown to you on the explanation of benefits. Now, if a patient doesn't have insurance and they're just cash, you really don't care much about that, because everything that gets paid just gets paid to the oldest item. So a Visa credit card you might have as a personal account for your own self at home, they don't show you open item, because in your credit card, if they bill you $800, you either pay $800 or you pay some part of it, and they just post it to the balance. All right, we don't just post to the balance. We post to the balance, yes, but it also is reflected in these items. And if you notice, these items right here will add up to this total, so they'll be in balance. So that's really an important part of the system, if you can understand that. Now let's go to another patient. I'm going to press find, and let's just go to this Clint Eastwood. If I press C for charge, let's say the patient comes in today. Today's visit is today. Let's say he has a 97710, and the doctor would tell you that he did that. So we hit enter that, press keep. Now I just press enter, and it knows that it's a therapy. It knows it's $50. It's place of services office. Now we happen to have 2 diagnoses in already for this patient, and if we didn't have those in, we would have to click in here and find diagnoses and put them in. But we now have them. We just press enter. And by the way, these are called pointers. This says diagnosis 1 and 2 are both being applied or relate to this therapy. So now we just press enter. We're charging the primary plan, which is the top dollar plan. Press enter. Doctor 1, who's Dr. Good, is being charged. And then we just come over here and we'll say yes. So now we just entered that charge. If they had something else done, we just do another charge. Then maybe the patient's going to pay a copay. So we'll press R for receipt, and I'll press enter, press P for patient payment, we have to put, let's say, check. We'll just say copay. And we'll just say, 15. He says they want 30 up there, but we'll just say 15. And we'll just go, I could post it to ID number 1, which I'll press enter. It knows it's going to be 15, and I say yes. Now there's more videos on how to use the ledger, but for right now, that just gives you an idea that we had a charge of 50, and the patient paid 15. Now notice that 15 is coming up here. So we had 50 less 15 is 35, and notice the balance up here is 35, and it's all current. Now let's say we wanted to give him a discount. We could also press A for adjustment, do a write-off, and let's say we're going to give him a special, discount today of $10. Now again, I can go to line item 1, and now you'll notice that we've had $50 charged, 15 from the patient. We had a discount of 10, and now he only owes 25. So this is how this works, okay? And this will just go on and on. You get lots of items here. As this, when you run a batch insurance, it's going to print an insurance form. Now I can actually print. We won't do that, but we could just print one on this patient. If I pressed W for walkout, I could just do an insurance form, and it would just print that bill. Or I could go to batch mode, which I'll show you later, and we could run all the insurances we need for that day. And it would do them automatically by looking at these flags. So that will get you going on the ledger. There's a lot of other things. Jay, you can jot down notes on the patient if you want. You can actually do medical records. You can delete items that are no longer needed. You can edit things. Again, you can do a batch receipt, which would be for many different patients. And you can even do a hard copy of the ledger. I could print that out on paper. So there's all kinds of things in the ledger, and we didn't cover them all, believe me. But we'll get out of there now. We're going to exit. The appointment system, just very quickly, is just a very easy to use appointment system. You can add appointments very quickly and easily. And then when you look at the the month, the week, the day, and you can print them out. It doesn't try to overdo appointments. You can get appointments by the provider. These are the patients he's seeing today. You can get that printed. It's a basic appointment system. So now 4 is patient billing and 5 is insurance billing. Well, if a patient, once the insurance is paid, will come in here and will run bills that will go to the patient. However, probably a bigger job, a lot of times, is the insurance billing, number 5. That's where you will run insurance forms, either on paper or electronically. If you're using the electronically, it will go through our clearinghouse or possibly through someone else's clearinghouse. And I won't go into a lot of details, but you can say, I just want to run Blue Cross, or I just want to run a certain cut on things. Usually you just run batches so you get everything billed, and then you can go do your electronic or put the the paper in envelopes and stamp it and mail it. The end of the day is usually done at the end of the day. It gives you all your accounting for the day, and it sort of closes the day and starts and gives you reports and starts a new day. You don't have to close the day every day. If you have a small practice, you just close it at least at the end of the month whenever you do your accounting. If it's a larger practice, you probably do close every day and balance your books. Now, a big thing about the end of day is before you do that, you normally go to the reports, which is 7, and you go to A, which is your daily proof reports. These will let you see everything you've done that day so you can proof it. For example, I'll just print to the screen. These are just a raw report of everything I did today. Here's what I just did for Clint Eastwood, which we just did, that $50 charge, $15 copay, $10 write-off. So that's and also in this daily proofs, there's all different cuts. You can get a summary report. You can just get all kinds of things that would help you look at the day and total your totals. You can get cuts just for one user. Again, there's many different things you can do. This is just a summary for the day. For this day, we've had 10 charges for $305 net charges for the day. It'll give us a week to date, month to date, and year to date numbers. The receipts, patients, receipts 3 for $55. The AR went up, accounts receivable went up by $250. Today we had 6 visits, and it's just telling you this is a proof only. Now the end of day will actually total up those numbers and then close the day. So you always would do your proofs, and nothing changes when you're doing the proofs. So the only other thing you do is at the end of the month, you'd come up to screen 9. You don't quite, at the end of the month, you would close the day and say yes here. Then you would log back in and you'd just do this business statistics reports, say yes to everything, and then you would do that. And then finally you'd go to screen 9 and you would do close the accounting month. And that would then get you into the next month, and it would let you log in to the next month. So that's a good, hopefully a good overview. And what you would probably want to do next is use the system a little, make sure you have a login code, and then gradually start looking at some of the videos on how to register patients, how to use the ledger, how to do adjustments, and how to deal with ICD-10s maybe. And that's it for now. Okay, have a great day.